Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to show you how to use binomials to find the volume and the surface area of a cylinder. First thing is we've got this formula up here for volume. That's pi r squared times h. The r is right here and the h is right here. So we're going to leave our answers though in pi. So what I'm going to do is focus on this part of the calculation. So I'm going to do my r, which is going to be 2n plus 3, and I'm going to square that. And if we follow our patterns, our special patterns for multiplying a binomial that's squared, we'll see that we get 4n squared plus 2 times 3 is 6 times 2 is 12n plus 3 times 3 is 9. Now we still have to multiply it by our h, and our h is 5n plus 1. Now what I would recommend you do is take that 5n plus 1 and move it underneath like this and use vertical multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line across here, put a little time symbol, and 1 times the entire trinomial will give me 4n squared plus 12n plus 9. And then I'm going to take my 5n and I'm going to multiply it here, here, and here, just like I did with the 1. But what I'm going to do first is put a plus 0 here to kind of bump myself over as a reminder I can't put anything underneath the 9. So 5n times the 9 becomes positive 45n. 5n times the 12n will become a positive 60n squared. And the 5n times the 4n squared will give me a 20n cubed. 20n cubed. Add those up vertically like you would do any 3-digit times a 2-digit number, and you'll get 20n cubed plus 64n squared plus 57n plus 9, and all I've done was the r squared times the h. I still have a times pi on the outside. So all I'm really going to do is take this pi and distribute it to each one of my terms. So I'll have 4 multiplications, and we're going to leave it as pi. We're not going to call it 3.14. So we're going to call this first one 20n cubed times pi plus 64n squared pi plus 57n pi plus 9 pi. And this answer we get down here at the bottom becomes our entire volume calculation for that cylinder using nothing but binomials. Next calculation is surface area, and we are going to use the same dimensions, 2n plus 3 and 5n plus 1. So I'm going to focus on this first calculation here, 2 pi times r squared. Well, we already know that our r squared created 4n squared plus 12n plus 9. But I now have to multiply that by 2 pi. And then I'm going to do this calculation somewhere else, r times h. This is my r, this is my h, and unfortunately I'm going to have to multiply that entire thing out. So 2n plus 3 times 5n plus 1. So I multiply my first two numbers and I get 10n squared. I'm going to put my plus sign and my plus sign and then go multiply the last two numbers, which is going to give me 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Now when I go to multiply the outer and the inner numbers, I have a 2n and a 15n from the middle. 3 times 5 is 15. And 2n plus 15n is going to give me a positive 17n. Remember, if you do the FOIL technique, this middle term comes from the O plus the I, while this is the F and that's the L. Now that calculation I did right there is only r plus h. I still have to take this whole thing and times it by 2 pi, just like I'm supposed to do here. So what I'm going to do is distribute 2 pi to both of these terms, and when I'm done, I got to go back and add them together. So I'm going to do this one up top first. I'm going to distribute my 2 pi. So 2 pi times 4n squared is going to give me 8n squared pi. And then 2 pi times 12n is going to give me positive 24n pi. And 2 pi times 9 is going to give me a positive 18 pi. Now, since I'm going to end up adding these two together, as we said right here, as I distribute this one through, I am going to take it and line it up with its like term. So 2 pi times 10n squared is going to give me 20n squared pi. And I'm going to line it up right there underneath my other n squared. 2 pi times 17n is going to give me a positive 34n pi. And 2 pi times a positive 3 is going to give me a positive 6 pi. All I got to do now, draw my line, add them together. Start at the beginning. 18 plus 6 is going to give me 24 pi. 24 pi plus 34 pi is going to give me 58n times pi plus 8n squared pi plus 20n squared pi is going to give me 28n squared pi. And this here ends up being the surface area left in terms of pi.